Hi everyone, I'm here to talk about high sensitivity. If you're a highly sensitive person, welcome to a new era. My name is Emma. I usually do readings for the zodiac signs with tarot cards and whatnot. And today I just felt so compelled to just share this with you because it's like an aha moment for myself. I have a cold still. I've been ill for a bit, but yes, I've been crying, and it seems like the crying part is a big part of being highly sensitive. And it's just that I came across this beautiful documentary by, and I'm not going to remember a name now. That sucks. But it has to do a lot with Alanis Morissette. You probably know of her. She's this most gorgeous singer, songwriter, really famous in my day, so quite telling you my age. And they were just sort of going into depth about. I've heard of highly sensitive people before. I even read a book about it. I could completely relate to it, but it wasn't striking a chord to the depth of what it struck with me this time. And why I wanted to make this video is because I see that there's a lot of kids now coming into the world, or that we have a lot of kids that could really be so helped by adults or people in their surroundings understanding their condition. And I just want to say, like, if you're, for the longest time, I just thought that I was awkward. I just thought that I was awkward and I didn't want to, I thought almost that I was depressed, that I just didn't want to sort of be a part of other people's big parties and stuff. Like I've been in music and theater and all of that. And, we were putting on shows and we were rehearsing, like a lot of people, a lot of noise, costumes, makeup, big things happening. And it doesn't have to be this for it to be overwhelming for somebody. I'm just saying, you would think that if you had put it on a show and you did really well and you had a premiere and whatnot, and then afterwards, like, everybody was like, let's go out party. And I was like, let's not. I just want to go home and be by myself. Or another time when there was like several parties in several places, and I was invited to several of them for New Year's. And I just felt at that New Year that, I just knew the bigness of it, and the sounds, and it's just overwhelming. And I think I told my mom about, like, I was sitting alone on New Year's, and she was like, are you kidding me? Like, you can't be alone on New Year's. And to me, it wasn't about I'm sitting here and I'm such a sad person, I'm being completely alone. To me, it was like, oh, thank God, like alone time. And so I just have now figured out, and maybe you feel this yourself. Maybe you feel like a little bit of an introvert. You don't have to feel like an introvert. I thought I was an introvert because it sort of fit the box, but then I have extroverted sort of tendencies as well. So, like, I'm not completely like, I just want to run and hide. And an introvert doesn't have to be that either. Let's not make it about introvert or extrovert. I just want to say, I thought for a while there that, oh, I must be an introvert. That's why I want to remove myself from all the noise for a bit and then sort of come back into the world again. I figured out, though, that I am highly sensitive, and I've always been highly sensitive. I understand so much about my childhood now, and I understand my mainly because I see it in my 3-year-old. I have a 3-year-old, and so and this is also why I want to sort of reach out. If you have children around you and you don't really understand what's up with them because they're sort of a bit hesitant about things, they might not want to participate in certain things. They're just taking their time. For an example, I was visiting one of my sisters. She lives in Spain, and they had this gorgeous pool. And, everybody else was just, we were out there. It's so warm. It's so sunny and beautiful. Everybody's going into the pool. And yes, he's 3 years old, and he was even younger then. So obviously it's going to be new for him. But his cousin, being even younger, was like, like all like in the pool, going under, going over, having no issues. And he was just the first day, he was geared up to his teeth. He had everything on that you're supposed to have on going into this deep pool. And he was just not having it. And it wasn't that he wasn't having it. Everybody else was like, oh, he's not having it. He just didn't want to go in. He did not want to go in. And it wasn't that he didn't want to go in. This is the highly sensitive trait. He just needs to take everything in first. He was just standing there at the pool. The first day he was standing at the pool, he would not go in. However long we were swimming and bathing and just having so much fun in there, he would not go in. Second day, he would sit on the edge of the, like he was sitting down on the edge of the pool, and he was actually putting a little bit of a foot into the water. And yeah, I felt maybe a little bit chilly, but it wasn't because of that he needed to sort of take it in. On the third day, he was in like you had never seen a swimmer be in the water before. He was so, I have videos of it, like he was so enjoying it. He was just everywhere, and maybe not sort of deep diving and all of that, like, but he was in the water. And you would think that if this is a person, like on the first day he wouldn't even go in, you would think that he would be like way more careful as he was in the water. He literally needed 3 times to just take it all in. The noise, the other people, what they were doing, what are these things that we're supposed to have on us? Like there's so much to take in for a highly sensitive person because you take everything in. And so he just needed to process it. And I recognize my own behavior now. There's so many opportunities that I feel like I haven't said yes to because of my anxiety of being pushed into it too fast. Like I will get into a situation and there's certain things that I've turned down where other people go, like around me go, you're nuts. You know, people are not being given those opportunities. And when it comes along, you should say yes. And to me, it was like, oh, I just know the setting. I know how fast things needs to move. And I just don't know. And I always confused it with, I'm such a chicken. Like I'm such a, like if I just, it was a producer that I worked with once, beautiful person that I worked with once. And he was like, you know what? You're like a ketchup bottle. You're like a ketchup bottle. It's the ketchup effect. Like if you sort of, it's nothing and nothing and nothing. And then all of a sudden it just feels like you have that whole freaking bottle in there and it will just eventually come out. And yeah, it would. If I would have understood my own behavior and if I would have understood my own, like I just need 3 days to get into the pool. And to just explain that to people around you when they go, please hurry up, or please, can we please just, they call it a slow warm-up, that you're a slow warm-up. You need your time. Just be sort of standoff. And it goes same with dates, same with meeting people. Like I need to sort of, if there could be a really beautiful distance between 2 people meeting and they're like, get closer here. I'm not too ready for that yet. Like I need to just stand over here. And I would confuse that as well. God, why am I such a, like, why can't I just hug and kiss people like everybody else does? No, because I need to take them in. I need to take their whole freaking being in before I can take them in. And so I might be somewhat of an introvert, but I am way more highly sensitive. Also, I've heard all my life, not maybe the later part of my life, but all my childhood and definitely my young adulthood, that I'm so dramatic. I'm so dramatic, like everything is so dramatic to me. And it was overwhelming, overstimulating, oversensitive. You're so oversensitive, you're so dramatic. And it's so interesting because I did a reading the other day for one of the zodiac signs, and I actually even said those words not understanding it myself. I even said for the longest time I was committed to drama and conflict. I was the biggest drama queen you ever saw, and I was obsessed with it. I needed it to thrive. But you know what? If you hear enough times that you're a drama queen, if you hear enough times growing up that you are dramatic, overly dramatic and overly sensitive, you start to taking it on and you start to understand that, okay, this is probably who I am. This is probably who I am. And it has been several, and of course there's some own responsibility in it. And of course, there could be elements of whatnot in there. And it's not like just everyone behaving like this or everyone being an introvert is highly sensitive or everyone that just feels overwhelmed every once in a while is a highly sensitive. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it fits the box for me. And I see what it has done with my oldest son. I've been trying to protect him my whole life. I've had this innate feeling like I just need to protect him. And I also have gotten a little bit of that from people around me saying, you're so freaking overprotective. You sort of just do everything for him. He just needs to be more like of his own. And it probably was because I didn't recognize my own high sensitivity back then. He's 21 and my new boy is 3 years old. So there's this huge difference there in how I can now perceive my boy who's 3 years old. But I had this feeling that, okay, my oldest son who's 21 now, he was also hearing impaired. So I just felt an overly need like to just protect him. But there was something, like there was always an extra dimension why I sort of wanted to, and to feel like, give him time. He needs to, and you know, he never wanted to be a part of like big things happening. And I always thought maybe that was because he was hearing impaired. And obviously like probably 80% of that was because he couldn't be a part of a society where he wasn't understood or he didn't understand anybody. But looking back at it and understanding, I know a time, I think he was like 6 or 7 years old. He said, you know, we were sitting in the parking lot. I will never forget this. We were sitting in the parking lot and I was getting ready, and for him as well, to go into the grocery store. And he was like, Mom, can I please sit and wait here? I was like, why? Why don't you want to come? Because I'm afraid of the people. It's like, you're afraid of the people? How? And then, you know, instantaneously like, something has happened to him. Somebody has done something to him. And he's just trying to tell me in whatever way he can. And it's like, what? Did something happen? Like, did somebody do something to you? And he's like, no. It's just people. They're not... Well, I'm Swedish, so he would say... like, and I can't even remember the Swedish word now. It's like something around the lines of they're not being truthful. They're not being truthful. I feel like they're mean and they're like, again, like, have they done something to you? No. I just feel like they're scary. And I was like, okay. Do I have to come? I was like, of course not. I'll just go in and buy my groceries myself and be done with it. But it was like the first time he really expressed in his way how overwhelming it was to be around people, and maybe even to the point where he just felt like, okay, I don't even understand what other people are up to, because he could sense everything about them. And I thought, again, he could sense everything about them because he had to. He had to learn to read lips. He had to learn to read, signs of the body language. And I just thought, this is awesome. He's learning a sixth sense here because he has to. He can't rely on his hearing, so he has to rely on what he picks up from other people to understand them. And obviously, it's not an either or, it's both. So it's both. So what I want to say about that is just if you're a parent, maybe you're not highly sensitive yourself, but if you're a parent of a child right now that feels like they cry easily or they don't cry forever, and all of a sudden they just throw a tantrum and you have no idea where it comes from, to just please just try to let them have that tantrum and then start to pick up. They might not be able to articulate that they need a little bit more quiet time. The television is on, they've been on their phone or iPad, or they've been to school or daycare, and they come home and they're just overwhelmed by just being around other people and having, it can just be, if they're going on a field trip, everybody else, so it's equally, if something is really heavy or sad or bad, they're going to feel it. And if something is really beautiful and light and bright, they're going to feel it. So if they're like coming home after a field trip and they're exhausted, it's not time to have like another party or time to just have it really noisy, but to just turn the lights down, turn the noise down. And I know for me, and I, especially my younger sister, having that understanding from people around you. And I know it's not easy, because if you're not highly sensitive yourself, you think that you really are just being quite annoying. When you say, can you please turn that down? I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard that. Am I just really not that loud? Okay, then. I guess I'll just be fine with it. And I know my youngest sister has always, it feels like, had trouble with the noise and it's just overwhelming. Like, and then sort of coming to the point of, can you just please, like, it's just too much. And then as a normal person standing next to them going, okay, crazy person, slowly backing away. If you don't feel that yourself, you're not going to understand. You're not going to be able to relate. And I know it's annoying. So I would suggest to just really, really tell them, or have them go watch this beautiful documentary on Gaia.com. .com. That's Swedish. Punkt. It's turned into punkt. That's funny. Also, I just want to say, I want to add something there, because of the highly sensitive people. Two things. Highly sensitive people tend to be quite quick-witted, quick in their brain, as am I. And for a long time, I felt really lonely in it, because it's like I would say something. Okay, I'm just going to try to explain. And you might recognize this in yourself. Like, okay, somebody, you were making a joke, or you were watching a movie with somebody, you were having a moment with somebody, time moves, and we're like 2 or 3 weeks away, and something then happens 2 or 3 weeks away where you go, ketchup. Like you look at somebody, we just talked about ketchup, and they go, ketchup. Yeah, remember, ketchup. And like, oh my God. It's like the highly sensitive person has it's almost like no time has passed. They will see something, or they will hear something, or they will be reminded of something that just in that split second takes them back to exactly what that was about. And for a highly sensitive person together with another highly sensitive person, and you know this if you had sort of like a telepathy thing with another person, you sort of can just look at them and they just know. It doesn't have to be that you're highly sensitive, but you will maybe recognize this because you had that sort of report with somebody else that, somebody says a word and you hear that word and you look at your person, you go, like both of you understand. When you have that sort of on all the time, and you sort of want to make that report with people, and you sort of look at them and you go like, right? And like nothing. Okay, then. And it sort of leaves you a little bit hanging. It leaves you quite alone, frankly. So that's one thing, that sort of to be around other highly sensitive people. It's a recommendation, or with other like really quick-witted, like really quick people. It's a treat, because it feeds your already like on fire brain, if that makes sense. Also, another thing that happens with highly sensitive people, and I'm quite excited for this to happen to me, is that only are you not able to absorb new information quite fast. I know, and moms, or if you're watching, we would listen to something and I would say, wow, that's so cool. That's like, wow, that's amazing. And I would say, like, what do you feel about that? What do you mean what I feel? I need to try it first. I was like, we just did. No, we watched this thing talking about how you can do this, and now I have to sort of go away and try it. And I was like, as we were watching it, we already tried it. Like, for me, it would be like, oh, we already did that. It already happened. It's like, once you see it, it's absorbed. You don't need to have, that's why it's so overwhelming. because you take everything in, it looks like you might be a slow starter. It looks like you might need 3 days to get into the pool. But the reason why it takes you 3 days to get into the pool is because you have taken in every inch of that water, every little pool construction, every floaty, everything that's going on around that pool, you have already absorbed it. And now you need to process it. It's there, but it's already there. It's not like, okay, we need to, like, the reverse version is people are getting into the pool, they're sort of having a moment, and it's like, it feels really good. They're not really even thinking about it. If they are, they might process it a little bit later, but then it might already be too late, or, or it's vice versa. It's like, well, you understand what I mean. So a highly sensitive person has a way of really absorbing something fast. They're like fast learners because everything is just absorbed at once. Once they see something, they have it. It's like I still call my youngest sister, she's a freaking Wikipedia. It's either or. I can Google or I can call my sister. She's that, like, she's like, that's who she is, because she's a walking absorption of this highly sensitive energy. The other thing is that, yes, you're quick to absorb, but then the other thing is that you're quick to connect the new information with everything that they're actually talking about this in the documentary with Alanis Morissette. They're actually talking about it a little bit more in depth there. I really like that, because that's definitely what I've been feeling, like taking in the new information. But that's the one thing with the humor there, with the connection there, the, like, do you hear that? And do you remember that? And connecting those two, like, awesome. And most people go, what thing? It's like, that thing 3 weeks ago. Like, you're seriously telling me that I should remember something 3 weeks ago? There's something about taking the new information on and then sort of combining that with everything you learned up until this point, or taking that with information that you have gathered before. It's like you take this new information with the old information and you mix them. And that's why highly sensitive people usually are great inventors or come up with new creative ideas, and they might not even think it's a new creative idea because it's so natural to them. I have to be honest, it might be so natural to me that I don't even understand how creative I am. I just have to say, no, I'm not there yet. I'm not to the point. I constantly say, somebody should take do you say that same thing in English? Patent in Swedish. Somebody should take a patent on that. Like, somebody should invent this. I never invented it myself. I just have the idea about it, and then it's like I say, like, somebody else should. So I'm waiting for that to kick in. It'll get me rich. Anywho, yeah, I just wanted to share this information. If you feel like you're a highly sensitive person, you just need quiet around you every once in a while, because the noise is too much. And if the noise of the world is too much right now, I completely understand why you probably are being asked to just be very much with yourself, go into silence, sit in meditation, and do whatever you can. It's not like you have to be a hermit and can't enjoy other people's, company, but that it's really important to have that time for yourself and to not feel bad that you have reactions to things that other people don't understand. To not feel bad that you are overly sensitive compared to another. But if we don't compare, you're just sensitive, and it's a superpower. It's a superpower to be able to feel that in other people, and it's a superpower definitely if you have a child that is highly sensitive, because you will be able to meet them and greet them and understand why they're behaving the way that they're behaving, and just let them have all the emotional, you don't have to be highly sensitive for a child to be able to have all the emotions that they feel. I feel like that should be a right for everyone. I'm just saying, if on top of that your child is highly sensitive, you know, try to have as a, in this noisy world, have a little bit of a time out every once in a while to just sort of calm things down, have it quiet around you as much as you possibly can, because they're going to need it and they might not be able to articulate it like my son did. Like, I'm scared of the people. What's up with the people? And now you remember that I talked about the people. Okay. For some reason I want to say this. I want to say a shout out to highly sensitive people. You're not weird. You're superhuman. You have a superpower. And yeah, that's one thing I want to close off here with. It's not too far from I mean, I work, like, I don't even know what to call myself, but the messages that I receive from source, I've never been able quite fully to explain how I receive it or what I feel, like, I can sometimes hear things in my head. I will hear it. I sometimes will smell things, although the smell itself, like what causes the smell, is not here. I will have a vision about something, but that's on occasion. The rest of it, as I deliver a message, is just I am the answer, if that makes sense. Somebody asks a question and I sort of become the answer. And that's also very much like a highly sensitive person. I'm not saying that every creative person is highly sensitive. I'm not saying that every person working in the psychic field or the being a healer or a medium or whatnot, but it's up there. It's up there that they're so in tune that you sort of just one with source. You're one with the universe. Once the question is asked, you sort of just can become one with source. So that's another way of explaining, like, how, because sometimes you might even wonder yourself, why do you know the things you know when you know you don't know them? Like, a minute ago I didn't know this, and now here's the information. How do I know that? Because you are the answer, and a highly sensitive person is not going to sort of judge that first, or sort of take that. That's one of the traits that, even though you have strong belief systems about things, once the information is there, it's there. You have absorbed it. Once it shows up, you have absorbed it. You don't filter it out. So it's like, how can I know that when I don't know that? Does that make sense? So you probably are a little bit of a Google situation, a Wikipedia, without fully understanding why you are. And that's probably why you work so well in the medium healing psychic field, because the answers you just become the answer. You absorb the answer. Okay, that's what I have for you. A little side note here, and I just really felt overwhelmingly, I just wanted to share. And I sort of want to reach out to every person who feels like they're a little bit weird, that they want to be alone. You probably might not even an introvert. You might just be very highly sensitive. There's so much more on this topic. I really love this documentary on Gaia.com. Yeah. Bye, everyone.